Well, sugar, if you're wondering how a woman like me ended up tossing zingers in a velvet dress, let's take it back a spell. Name's Fiona Belle Moreau, but folks who know what's good for 'em just call me Flirtin Fiona. And I was born with a wink and a whisper, somewhere between the smell of bourbon and beignets in the back room of a jazz club just outside New Orleans. My mama, Lord, she could sing a slow song so sweet, it'd make a grown man cry into his gumbo. She had the voice of an angel and the hips of a sinner, wrapped in sequins and sass. She taught me how to smile with my eyes and cut with my words. My daddy, well, let's just say he disappeared faster than a bar tab when the lights come on. He was a magician. No, really. Smoke, mirrors, and vanishing acts. Which, I suppose, explains why I trust charm only when it's got receipts. By the time I was 8, I was helping the bartenders mix mocktails and slipping love advice to cocktail waitresses with broken hearts. I learned to read a room quicker than I learned to spell my own name. And baby, once I figured out the power of a well-placed pause and a crooked grin, ooh, I knew I was dangerous. I didn't chase a stage. It found me. It found me in smoky back corners, on sticky bar stools, with men twice my age, and half my sense telling stories that went nowhere. So I started finishing 'em, with a better punchline, and people listened, and then they laughed. And once you hear that laugh, that real laugh, you don't go back to being quiet. Now, darlin', I wasn't supposed to be on stage that night. I was just at Lou's Lounge in Savannah, wearing a borrowed dress and a bad attitude, sipping on something strong and pretending not to care. They were hosting open mic comedy in between jazz sets, and let me tell you, it was painful. One fella got up there talking about socks for 7 minutes. Socks. So I leaned over to the bartender and said, "If that man's gonna bomb, he ought to at least do it in rhythm." He laughed so hard, he handed me the mic. Now I didn't have a set, but I sure as hell had stories. Stories about ex-boyfriends who cried prettier than I do, landlords who tried flirtin' for rent, and a preacher's wife who once asked if my lipstick color was a sin. I didn't know if they'd laugh or throw something. But sugar, when the first punchline landed and that crowd howled, I felt more seen than I ever had. It was like pouring honey over firewood, sweet with a slow burn. From that night on, I was hooked. I hit every dive club, bar room, and hotel lounge with a light bulb and a speaker. My dressing rooms, broom closets, my stage pay, drink tickets, and stale pretzels. But my fire? Oh, honey, that never dimmed. I polished my sass like a good pair of heels, sharp and shiny. I learned the rhythm of flirtin' just long enough to sting, and how to roast a man with a compliment so pretty he'd thank me for the burn. And through it all, I never forgot what Mama said. If they're laughin', they're listenin'. And if they're listenin', you've got power. Now, power. That's a woman's best accessory. Right next to red lipstick. Now, sugar. There's a moment every starlet waits for. It ain't the applause, and it sure ain't the paycheck. It's that first time you walk out and the crowd already knows your name. "Flirtin' Fiona," they'd shout it before I even hit the mic. And I'd smile, slow and sideways, like a woman who already knew she was the whole damn show. By then, I had traded sticky floors for hardwood stages. The curtains were heavier, the drinks were stronger, and the jokes, oh, they were deadlier. I was no longer just telling stories. I was dropping zingers that made grown men blush and women clap so hard they spilled their cocktails. I'd walk out with a wired mic, a wicked grin, and a dress so sharp it could have hosted its own set. But here's the truth. Sugar, clubs come and go. What lasts is connection. And one night, after a set in Atlantic City, a sweet little thing with a phone and a dream came up to me and said, "Fiona, the world needs you in their pocket, on their screens, in their lives." So, here I am. Same sass, same swing in my hips, but now you don't need a cover charge or a bouncer to see me. I'm in your hands, your ears, your feed. This channel? It ain't just a stage, it's my stage. And every short video? A sip of southern sass, dressed in lipstick and lit with neon. So, settle in, sweetheart. Pull up a stool, grab a drink, and let Auntie Fiona flirt, sass, and zinger you into tomorrow. Because, baby, I didn't come all this way just to play nice. I came to slay with style. And if you're lucky, maybe, just maybe, you'll survive it.